don't believe in that and you look at Neikung strictly as an exercise, the question is, why should you train? Why do you train? What need will it serve? What do you want to achieve out of it? So in that context, you have to look at what you want to do with it. For me, as a martial artist at that time, I wanted to be able to knock people out when I hit them. So that's pretty much what happened. I don't know if I've answered your question or if I'm rambling again.
I guess it's pretty hard to get an answer if you don't actually do Nikon. I mean, I guess it'd be hard to put it in words.
What paths the energy physically follows? Is that what you're trying to ask me?
Yes, I believe you stated previously that the energy of the yang energy is stored in the dantian, and then from there you push it out somehow through certain areas of your body.
It goes up to your heart, and from your heart to your hands, or up to your head, depending on where you want to drive it.
Are you thinking of anything visually, or how do you actually push it? I heard a term in a video with Jim McMillan where one of the teachers said to him when he was trying to move boxes using telekinesis that it was like going to the toilet, pushing down. Is it something similar like that?
It never was like that for me, no. I just wanted it to happen, and it happened. But, how do you move your hand? Do you work at it? Does it happen naturally? I'm sure that when you were 6 months, it was much more difficult, and then as you progressed along in life, it became far easier. If you were to start a new activity now, for example, do you play lacrosse? I don't know if you do. But if you play lacrosse, then there's an element involved where you'll be learning it, which would make it far more difficult, and it would have to be deliberate. It'd say step like this, move your body like this, swing your arms like this. And you would have to actually go through that process to do it, and then you would learn it, and then you wouldn't have to do that. You would just do it. So moving the energy is pretty much like that. The interesting thing with the Tantien is when the Tantien becomes a separate entity, and there is a point when you're training when it does become that. It becomes a replication of yourself. And then it can also move when it wants. And that's where the danger to other people comes in, because if it's frightened or angry, or you might suddenly find yourself picking up at full power, and you had no intention of doing that.
Almost a life of its own. Apparently,
pretty much, but that's what, if I may, that's what I meant when and you can see this in a lot of Taoist scripture where they're talking about, the inner child and all that. And for me, like I said, it was eye-opening to find out that there is an enderic nervous system that's in fact more complex than the spine itself. Because for me, that explained a lot of what I was experiencing when I was training full bore.
And I guess that's why some people, including I think somebody that studied under you, Sean Denty, he did say that, or others have said that once you get to a certain level, it can be dangerous if you don't train or practice Nikung a particular way because of, I guess, what you just said.
Sorry, who did you say studied under me?
I've just read in some of the blogs that did you have a person that trained with you by name of Sean?
No.
No? Okay. Well, I was reading a blog that he said he was, so maybe he wasn't.
More power to him. A lot of people say a lot of different things, but I don't know anybody like that.
Okay, thank you. The next question we have is from Green Meadow.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm actually asking 2 questions from Cliff High, who is the creator of the WebBots, and he's also an Aikidoist.
Okay.
He would like to know if when Chi Ki is building in meditation, have you contacted the stream? If so, have you entered the stream? And can you tell if others are present in the stream simultaneously?
You would have to lose yourself in the stream completely to do that. And that's more a level of the mind. Mind and energy are 2 different things still. And of course, they're interconnected, interrelated. I mean, it's like saying the nervous system and the circulatory system. But the more you lose yourself, the more you'll be able to see other things. But on the other hand, the more you'll lose yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to you to make that decision.
Have you entered the stream? Do you know what he's talking about?
Yes, I know what he's talking about, yes.
Okay.
I don't do that unless it's very important.
Okay. And then when developing yin force in meditation, do you sense it or feel it in your hara, like in the solar plexus as an expansion?
No, it's not in the solar plexus, and it's not anywhere in any of the center energetic chords of the body. It's in fact all around. It's not something that you put in. It sort of follows the yang qi wherever it goes. So when you generate yang qi, if you sit down, then automatically you'll pull in yin qi because it wants to be in equal amount wherever the yang qi is. There are schools that train in the development of yin qi itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about that.
So did your training include both or just the yang?
My training included both, yes.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
one rose as a consequence of the other. You don't deliberately say that, oh, I'm going to pull in yin qi now. It just happens.
Okay.
I mean, there are ways to do that, but I can't understand why anyone would want to.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kostas, this is Plain again. I've got a couple of questions from Cliff as well. So here goes. If the generative Chen-Yang force naturally spins clockwise, does it mean that using an act of will that causes it to spin anti-clockwise initiates a period of accepting Kun-Yin force?
I don't know anything about spins or anything like that, I'm afraid.
Okay. There's a follow-up part of that that may not be relevant. It says, if so, is this, as is held by the tradition of the yellow flower or golden elixir, to be compressed?
Sorry, I didn't understand that. Plain again.
Well, it's based on the first part of the first question, which, as a follow-up to that about the spins, and then initiating a period of accepting the Kun-Yin force.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the question doesn't quite work for you, but based on that, it then says, as is held by the tradition of the yellow flower or the golden elixir, this is said to be compressed. And do you have any thoughts on that? Okay.
I will say that one time when I was practicing meditation and I blacked out, I went into some kind of stasis. At that time, everything, I went through a phase where I was seeing different like colors or special effects or whatever you want to call them. One seemed like fireworks, and then I went to a place that was completely still and sort of like a dawn. At that point, I could hear a whirring sound, and because I was sitting on the seashore, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, cool! There's a boat passing," but it just kept going on and on and on and on, getting louder and louder. When I asked my teacher of Tibetan Buddhism about that, he said that was the sound of the chakra spinning. I don't know if that was the case or not. I'm really not familiar with spins or orientations or anything like that.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Kostas, this is Free Spirit again.
Hello?
In understanding that meditation can be different for each individual, are there any tips or pointers that you can give on how to get started in a productive manner for those who want to learn how to meditate? And what would you say is the goal or should be the goal of meditation?
It's a very good and important question. Life is very disturbing to trying to meditate. So one way to begin to meditate is to either let things go, if you can, or become victorious, whichever suits you better. Meditation involves surrendering yourself to simple existence, to letting your conscious self just exist without your ambitions, desires, hopes, fears, opinions, etc., etc. So I would say to be able to successfully meditate, you would have to deal with those in some manner. Now, either that means accepting where you are now, it means not having any, or it means being able to accommodate all the above so that you can spend the time to get to the state where you can actually know your primal self. And why is that important? Over and above any metaphysical benefits it may have, and they're, that's a big question mark for all of us. I mean, when it comes down to it, there are so many different dogmas and religions and opinions and everything else on the world that I personally would be hard-pressed to say that this is right or this is wrong. What I can say is that if you experience meditation, you will become a more complete human being, and it will allow you access to inroads that you may never have had. Now, whether or not there is a metaphysical benefit to this, I guess I'll find out when I die. I don't know how I'll be able to let you know at that time, but I'll keep it in mind.
And along the same lines, it's understood that if one is thinking or is conscious of self, that they're not really in meditation. It's kind of what you were talking about.
That's correct.
But this is kind of confusing to me because I know often, like for me, I'll still receive images or messages when I'm out there, so to speak, for lack of a better term, and that I then become conscious of these. So when one is learning, and another example would be when you're learning to move chi into the Dandian, are you not making a conscious effort to do this? So how does one differentiate between these types of mind-oriented awarenesses and the non-preferred types of thinking or consciousness of self?
Well, do you ride a bicycle, madam? Do you know how to ride a bicycle?
Yes, sir.
Are you conscious of the bicycle when you're riding it?
Yes, sir.
You are? Okay. Most people are when they're children and they're starting to learn, but then when they're riding the bicycle, they're not consciously pedaling. They're just doing it, and their mind might be somewhere else. So the breathing aspect of meditation, which is important, can become like pedaling a bicycle. You don't really think about it. It's just something that you do, and then your mind is free of that. What you mentioned about getting inputs and